Lock in all sports, all plays, all 5% best bets from now until Super Bowl 57 on February 12th, 2023 from your favorite WagerTalk handicapper for only $1,199 versus a regular price of $1,999 for one total savings of $800. This limited time super discount comes out to less than $100 per month and only $3.28 per day. As an added bonus, your all access starts immediately, so the sooner you buy before Super Bowl 56, the more additional days you will get for free. Just go to wagertalk.com, choose your favorite handicapper to lock in, and don't forget there is no limit to the amount of handicappers you can redeem our Super Bowl to Super Bowl offer on.
Happy Friday, guys. Welcome in right here to WagerTalk TV. You are watching Puck Time. I'm Andrew McInnis. I have Carmine Bianco with me. 4 games to discuss. Best bets at the end. Some good promos going into the weekend. Looking forward to the show. Hope you guys all had a great week and a profitable week. And we'll try and end your week with some winning wagers as well. I want to thank all of you guys that joined me yesterday on my 5% play. It did get released kind of later in the morning. I tried to let you guys know about it on the show over with the Ducks and the Canadians. I wish they were all like that, guys. 5-4 ending to that game. I'll have a promo code to give you guys at the end of this show, so stay tuned. Promo code just good until the end of the month. Another guy doing really well, Carmine Bianco. We're going to talk hockey, but man, I want to ask you about your thoughts on that soccer game last night. The men's national team for Canada, they continue to roll, man.
Yeah, first off, took a step back and lost a couple ones I thought I would win last night. If the Penguins had won in that shootout, probably would have been a decent night. But we'll get right back at it. I have a 5% that will be up shortly for Saturday. I really like, of course. But yeah, the Canada game yesterday, both the USA and Canada, I watched both of their games. Fantastic, and I'm going to see the game on Sunday. I'm hoping both Canada and the US qualify for this year's World Cup. They're well on their way, but there's still a lot to do. I was looking forward to freezing my ass off on Sunday in Hamilton, watching that Canada US game. But my good friend and our good friend Rob Braley came through. The guy's in Aruba and arranged for a suite, a private box at the game for us all, catered with some booze. So while everyone's freezing in the stands, I'm going to be up there and I'll have the NFL game on because it's a 3 o'clock Sunday game. So Rob, if you're watching this, I thank you very much. And when Prez buys me that steak because Calgary made the playoffs, you'll be coming along as my significant other on that one. So you can eat your eyeballs out on Prez's tab. But Andrew, congratulations on the 5% play. That's awesome. The Prez blew up our phone with his sweating the Edmonton and Nashville game, but I'm glad he won his play as well, too. All the guys are hitting their 5s, which is always a good thing.
So it only means you're going to hit yours as well, Carm. So make sure you guys all go and grab Carmine's 5% play for Saturday tomorrow. And that's awesome. Super happy for you. It looks like it's going to be a great time at that game for you over the weekend. Today's games, guys, the Wild, the Rangers. We got the Red Wings and the Pittsburgh Penguins going head-to-head. Avalanche, Blackhawks, and the struggling Washington Capitals against the Dallas Stars. Let's start things off, Carm, with our very first game on the board for today. The New York Rangers, they're in action. They're playing host to the Minnesota Wild. They are plus 120 dogs at home. Minnesota minus 140 on the highway. Total is at 6 in this one. It is a back-to-back for the New York Rangers. They lost 5-3 yesterday as minus 200 favorites. Minnesota, they haven't played in a couple days here. Their last game was that 8-2 throttling against my Montreal Canadiens. What are your thoughts here, Carl? I mean, obviously, New York, they want to have a quick bounce back. They want to have a quick turnaround. But I was saying this a few times yesterday, and I'm not going to try and just rip Georgiev, but I really feel like the team just plays different when he is in front of them or behind them. Sometimes you see it in baseball. When a pitcher is out there, for some reason, you see a team just not give him that run support. For some reason, the New York Rangers are a different team without Shesterkin. I know Shesterkin's amazing, don't get me wrong, but the start that they had, the work ethic I saw from the New York Rangers was unbelievable. Columbus had about, what was it, 5 or 6 shots, Carm, and they had a few goals. I mean, that was a very weird game. What does the rest factor play for you here as well with the Wild not playing in a couple days? Good or bad thing for them?
Yeah, first off, to your analogy, it's funny because I was actually thinking about that yesterday about just some goalies just don't get the support, and then you equate it to something like in baseball, and you think about the years of Clayton Kershaw and keeping teams to one run or two runs and still losing the game because they couldn't get him any run support, and the guy left so many wins on that mound. It's The Rangers are quickly becoming a team where you play them when it's Shesterkin in goal, and you almost want to fade them at any big number when it's Georgiev in net. And I'm not saying Georgiev's a bad goalie, but he's not a number one. And I get what the Rangers are doing. You're also protecting Shesterkin. It's a long season, and it's all about positioning yourself and making it into the playoffs. When I saw this line, I just thought to myself, how are the Rangers a dog at home? They're playing extremely well. I think they've won 5 straight at home. I get Minnesota's a good team. I get it. But, and they've won 6 of 7. But you look at some of the teams that they've beaten as well, too, and you can only beat who's in front of you. This is a different team with a better goalie if it is Shesterkin in net, and it's likely going to be since he didn't start last night. Rangers are 10-5 off a loss and this season thus far, and 3-0-1 when returning home off a road loss. If that means anything to you, it's a very short sampling, but plus money on the Rangers at home. I get Minnesota's a good team, but the Rangers are a very good team at home. Plus 120, I'm going to take it. Give me the Rangers plus 120 with Shesterkin in goal.
I'm right there with you. That's where my money would be. If I was playing this game, that's where I'd be betting as well. Quite often on this show, we talk about strength of schedule, and we always, both of us, use the expression, you can only defeat who's in front of you, who they put in front of you. But in this matchup in particular, I'm not trying to downplay the Minnesota Wild, but the streak they've been on right now, they beat Chicago twice. You beat down the Montreal Canadiens. You look down the schedule, you're beating teams like Washington that were struggling, an Anaheim team that gave up 7 goals. I mean, this is a Rangers team that means business. They're not going to be happy about the result last night. They got their number one goaltender back in net. I believe they're juggling the lines a little bit, Carm. So that's good for them. As far as the total goes, I've got nothing in this game. I have no clue what to think for the total. I do want to bring one thing to you guys. I have been looking at a lot more props lately, and I'm looking forward to bringing more prop action back to this show again. Chris Kreider. He is a guy on my chart right now for shots on goal. If you're betting shots on goal props, Chris Kreider is your guy. He's flying over that total for countless games now. He's not going to give you 11 shots on goal like Leon Draisaitl did a couple of nights ago, but he's going to get you over that total more often than not right now. Chris Kreider, he's getting it done for his team. Just a thought. If you guys are betting some of these games, you're betting some props, take a look at him. Also, Alexis Lafreniere to get a point for this team. We're starting to see his line get way more ice time, and I expect to see him get a little more involved into the play here, Carm. The Detroit Red Wings, they're visiting Pittsburgh. Sorry, you go ahead and comment there, Carm.
Yeah, no, I was just going to, because you mentioned Kreider, and it's hard to believe, given how many snipers are in this league, that he is the top goal scorer in the league at 30 goals. There's some on his heels at 29, but we're like 40 games into the season, and this guy's got 30 goals. That's pretty impressive.
Very impressive, and a lot of it comes down to the power play as well. But I really thought that team had more depth, and I'm not saying they don't now because of that, Carm, but you're right. He's been the guy. He's been almost like the Ovechkin sitting in his home office waiting for that one-timer, and he converts. And when that happens, he's usually getting those shot counts as well, the shots on goal marks. So Detroit and Pittsburgh. Detroit, they're plus 200 on the road. Pittsburgh minus 250. Puck line is only minus 110, and the total is at 6 in this game here. We've got a Pittsburgh team. They're a second half of their back-to-back as well. Seattle played them real close, and it was an upset alert last night in that game here. What are your thoughts in this game? Total's at 6, and Pittsburgh's been playing really, really well, Carm, past several weeks. do they take their foot off the gas pedal a little bit, or are they going to be eager to get back on track?
No, they're going to want to get back on track. Seattle did. Seattle did something that you can't do to a Pittsburgh team very often, which was they completely took away that neutral zone. The Pens love to build out of their own end, pick up speed through that neutral zone, up the wings, and that's how they score their goals. Seattle absolutely checked them into the ground. What were the final shots for Pittsburgh? You don't see a Pittsburgh team normally with 24 shots on a goal. And that third period, Seattle outshot them 18-4 in the third period. It was a game where Seattle literally came in with a game plan and worked to a T. Not every team's going to do that, and not every team's going to do that to Pittsburgh. And I don't see Detroit doing it. Detroit has been, I think, as this season wears on, the losses are going to start to pile up for this Detroit team. They were never a team that was going to compete for a playoff spot, but they're a team and a work in progress for Steve Yzerman, and he'll get them there eventually. But they're starting to take their lumps right now. Over the last 10 games, their only wins are over the Sabres and the Sharks. I just don't see how they go into Pittsburgh, even with the Pens on the second of a back-to-back. You've got to take Pittsburgh here, but the price is so high that you can't take them. The only way you can look at this with another game that we're not going to talk about tonight is you take the Pens, you take the Bruins, who should win tonight, you put them in a money line parlay, and if you take them early enough before these prices go up, you get it at about minus 110 or less. You won't get plus money on it, but you'll get it at about plus minus 110. That's not a bad way to go. Pens and Bruins tonight in a money line parlay. It's the only way to play this Pens game tonight.
That's a solid two-teamer right there. Like you said, gets you to minus 110 odds. I like that two-teamer. And I love how you end off, Carmen, by saying that's really the only way to play it, because I was looking at the team total on DraftKings over 3.5 goals for Pittsburgh. That price is minus 140. Do I want to go minus 140? Do I want to go that route with a team total here with the Pittsburgh Penguins? Obviously, you look at the minus 110 for the puck line, and then that minus 250 on the money line, and then the team total is at 3.5. So I guess my biggest fear is if I take that puck line and it ends 4-3, and I'm kind of biting myself for not taking the team total. But it's all about getting the best odds, in my opinion. I think long-term, you and I always speak about that. And that's why we have no problem doing these two-teamers like you discussed by combining the Bruins and the Penguins together tonight. But any thoughts there? Would you talk me off that team total at all?
No, I wouldn't, because while I don't have the data, I wish I had prepared this data for the show. But if I found the data for it, I'm pretty certain when you have a team or a situation like you did last night with a high-scoring team that literally is ground into the ground and has a low-scoring performance, their next game out, they break out. And that's what I expect. I expect to see some goals tonight, and we're going to talk about that in the show Best Bet segment. But I expect to see some goals tonight, and they're likely to come from one team and one team only here, which is Pittsburgh. So it wouldn't put it past me seeing one of those 5-2 type games tonight, where the game goes over the total and the Pens cover, basically every number that they need to cover, everything from like regulation to full game line to say puck line to team total. That's likely what's going to happen, but the NHL doesn't always play to what we expect to happen, as you know, Andrew. But I think we see some goals here tonight.
Absolutely. I just wanted to bring this up as well. Red Wings 3-13, Carm, last 16 meetings in Pittsburgh. That's not a short-term stat. 3-13, last 16 there in Pittsburgh. And talking about the team totals, just take a look at these numbers here. Way back on January 11th, Pittsburgh defeats Anaheim 4 goals. On the 17th, they defeat Vegas. They get 5 goals. Ottawa, they get 6 goals. Columbus, 5 goals. Arizona, 6 goals. So the majority of their wins lately, they have hit that team total. So, hey, at minus 140, maybe I'll do both. Maybe I'll take Carm's two-teamer and I'll grab the Penguins on their team total. Look for an offensive explosion. Brian Rust, Jake Gensel, Sidney Crosby, those guys are playing exceptionally right now. and just firing shots from all cylinders. And I expect nothing really less than a great bounce back performance from them tonight. Colorado, Chicago. I'm just going to hand the mic over to you for this one, Carm. You can start things off. Give us your thoughts. You got Chicago, they're plus 160 at home. Colorado minus 190. We know how great Colorado they can be at home. Now they're on the road here. Is there any chance of an upset in this one?
Um, if you looked at the game they played just a few days ago, where the game was scoreless for the first 31 minutes of the game, and the Avs eventually won that game 2-0. If you look at that game and you say to yourselves, "Well, they kept them to the 2 goals in Colorado, and we've got them at home," then that's the simplistic way of looking at it. This Avs team is just playing lights out hockey right now. 18-1-1 their last 20 games, 7-1-2 their last 10 on the road. This team just keeps winning games, and they're winning them every way you could ask them to. 6-3 game, you get into a defensive struggle game, they win 2-0. They're just winning games. And while the Hawks got like a much needed win over the Wings, 8-5, this is a step up. Like, Fleury played his eyeballs out in that game in Colorado. Can he do that 2 games in a row? If you let him stone you early, Fleury just gets better as the game goes on. But there's no way to play this game. At least for me, I'm not stepping in front of the Avs train right now. They're just rolling along. I think you just got to take the Avs in regulation time. If you don't want to lay the minus 190 or minus 200 or whatever it's going to be. I'm not even looking at the total, because 6.5 is such a bad total for this game. The Avs are scoring goals, but we don't know if we're going to get them from the Hawks. Don't look at the 8-5 game. Draw a line through that 8-5 game. You don't see those normally happen in the NHL. So I'm not going to touch the total here. I'm just going to take the Avs in regulation time here at a much cheaper price than the minus 190. I think they're about minus 140, 150.
Definitely get that down to regulation, get an even better price with that. And I love how you mentioned draw the line through that, Carm, because that was going to be my immediate, I don't want to say follow up, but I was going to mention that last game that they played in, the Chicago Blackhawks. And so I love how you said draw a line. I feel the same way. I'm kind of a what have you done for me lately handicapper, but also when it's an 8-5 game and no other games that they play turn out that way, you can't read too much into it.
Yeah, it's something that doesn't happen regularly. If you're going to expect the Chicago Blackhawks to score, and this isn't, I'm not trying to disparage this team, but if you expect them to score 8 goals or anywhere close to that on any given day, or on a regular basis, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen against an Avs team who are playing equally as well defensively. Every time you think of the Avs, everyone's like, well, the Avs, it's an automatic over. They're going to score goals. They're playing some very good defense right now as well too, and this is the problem with taking totals. Look at some of the Avs score lines of late, and there's quite a few unders that you'll see there, because they're winning those 4-1 and 3-1 games. They don't need to outscore you by 4 or 5 goals on any given night. They're winning the games that bodes well come playoff time, because those are the score lines come playoff time that you're going to see. Those 3-1 games, those 2-1 games, those 2-0 games. Those are the scores you see. They're almost playing playoff hockey right now in the middle of the season. Let's hope that they're not peaking too early, Andrew.
Yeah, let's hope not. One important thing we have to mention, Nathan McInnis, he's out for this team tonight. We saw what happened that game against the Boston Bruins. It looked to be a very dirty hit. Carmen and I were discussing it prior to this show. The replay immediately tells everybody, hey, look, it was a hit there, and it was Nathan McKinnon's stick that went into his face. Unfortunately, he suffered a broken nose. He is officially out for this game. I'm not sure how long he'll be out in general, but you know what that means, Carm? That means the player prop market opens up. The door opens. One door closes temporarily. Another door opens, unfortunately, for McKinnon. Nazem Kadri, guys, take a look at this guy's props. He is going over on shots on goal, countless games. He is currently the man on this team. I'm happy he is slotted into the All-Star game. He got that vote for them. Him, Mikko Rantanen, and also I know that I talked about this a while ago on the show about defensemen for player props because now you don't have to just bet points; you can bet assists. So specifically, just a player to get an assist, not a goal or an assist, just an assist. Look at Cale Makar. I expect him to jump into the rush quite a bit. He's been a little bit actually quiet recently, and that's very unusual for a player like that. Cale Makar to get an assist tonight. You can get that at a decent plus price. I'm on Nazem Kadri tonight, over 3.5 shots on goal, and I've also locked in Cale Makar over 2.5 shots on goal. So looking forward to a big game there. Carr mentioned it. We're not going to see Chicago put up 8 goals here tonight. We're not going to see the same team we saw a couple short nights ago against the Detroit Red Wings. It's just not going to happen. So I was looking towards Colorado as well. And I got to ask you, Carm, obviously this team is so talented, but they are one of those teams that has a clear home road split issue right now. They're not getting like destroyed on the road by any means, but you can tell they have been a different team on the road. Do you think that they're aware of that?
You actually cut out there, so I when you got into the discussion, I missed the first part of what you said. So I'd be
Oh,
answering a question that I didn't even hear, Andrew.
I'm just talking about the different road and home split with the Avalanche, just the way that they've been playing differently at home and on the road. Do you think that the coach preaches that, or it's something that they kind of probably avoid discussing, and each game is its own game?
No, I think each game is its own game. I don't think, as far as like the Avalanche go, I think they're the elite in this league right now. They got like 63 points. They were my pick to win the President's Trophy, so I'm happy that they're sort of moving along there. Um, it almost seems like they play the exact same game on the road that they do at home. You know what I mean? Sometimes you get the lesser of the two goalies. I remember at the beginning of the season, everyone kept saying they weren't convinced that Comfer was the right goalie for this Avalanche team, because you're looking at him playing for the Arizona Coyotes. You know what I mean? It's a completely different team, a team that plays better in front of you, a team that can score, and he's played well. You know what I mean? I don't think they play as well when it's Frank in net for them, but they're going to be well. You know what I mean? They're splitting the time. They're winning games with both goalies in goal. And I think once we get the playoff time, I think it's just going to be a steady diet of Vancouver. This team can win on the road. This team can win at home. They're going to be deadly come playoff time. And I know that we say that each and every year, but this could be the year for the Avalanche. They're playing defensive hockey and they're scoring goals. That is a recipe. The St. Louis Blues did that when they went from almost last place on New Year's Eve to a Stanley Cup win over the Boston Bruins. So defense wins you games as much as offense does. So it bodes well for this team, Andrew. I wouldn't fade. I wouldn't fade them on the road like you would some other teams that we'll, I guess, discuss in this next preview.
Mhm. Let's jump into it. Let's get to the Washington Capitals, the Dallas Stars here. This is a Washington Capitals team that has scored 1 goal in their last 120 minutes of hockey. They are plus 105 on the road. The Dallas Stars minus 125 at home. We talk about strength of schedule all the time. Let's talk about the strength of schedule for the Dallas Stars as they took on the Montreal Canadiens, the Buffalo Sabres, the Detroit Red Wings, the Philadelphia Flyers, and then the New Jersey Devils. What a schedule. I feel like there's somebody on this show that mentioned we should be betting on Dallas during that streak, and that was you, Carm. You did mention it. You talked about that was a good opportunity to bet on Dallas. Now they're minus 125 against a team that, on a large scale, is supposed to be a lot better than those other teams they've played recently. Right now, they aren't. They aren't playing to that caliber. I mentioned to you before we started the show, and I'm sure people can tell this show, I've been heavy into the props these days. I've been getting more back into the fantasy stuff for hockey. It's been a tough go over the past 2 days. If you had props involving the Washington Capitals, what are your thoughts on this matchup?
Yeah, a couple things. When you look at this, you look at the markets on this game, and the markets opened up Washington as the favorite in this game overnight at about minus 125. It's now the other way. I know Brian likes to talk about the markets. It's now the Stars favorite in this game. This is a weird one, and Andrew, and I'll tell you why. I talked about the Dallas Stars hitting the road, and I talked about like regression. A team that does extremely well at home eventually will start to lose and drop some games. And on the other end of it, a team like Dallas, who were mired in last place in the West on the road heading into this 4-game trip, that I thought that they could actually sweep all 4 games and jumpstart at least their form on the road, and they did. But now they come home and they play a Washington team who, yes, they're struggling to score goals and find some wins. But this is the type of team that Dallas can struggle against. This is a very good Washington team. Don't look at their short-term record. Look at their long-term record, and they're a very good road team. I think they're 5th overall on the road in the East, and I think as far as points per game, they're tied for 3rd points per game earned, I think, with Tampa Bay. So this is a team that can win and can pose problems, and this is the perfect game to jumpstart a good run for Washington, because I looked at their schedule. They got the Pens, I think, after this, and then they got the Oilers, but then they've got a slew of games that are the type of games that if they get through this stretch over the next week against this Dallas team, get a win against Pittsburgh and Edmonton, we could be talking next week about a Washington team on a 6 or 7 game win streak. So I would look at this Caps team. I'm leaning the Caps here. I know the market has gone the other way, but you're now getting plus money on this Caps team at plus 105, plus 110, and that's why I would look at it. Maybe Dallas coming home first off a 4-game road trip, maybe feeling a little, as Marco would say, fat and sassy with 4 wins. But this is the best team they've faced over the past week. And we might see a loss, one of those rare losses at home for Dallas. They lost just before they hit that road trip. So it's not like they're unbeatable at home. Give me the Caps tonight.
Absolutely love it. I love that spot. This to me kind of reminds me of what we saw yesterday. If you take a look at the yesterday's plays option on wagertalk.com, or you look at just on Twitter, the amount of people that I saw jumped all over that bounce back spot for the St. Louis Blues at home over the Calgary Flames, you would have had people wondering, why do people think it's going to be such a different result just a couple short days later? Why do I bring that up? Because some people might say the exact same thing to us for being so confident on a team that, like I said in the intro, has scored 1 goal in 120 minutes of hockey. But the situation adds up, and I listed all those teams that Dallas defeated. And that fat and sassy term has grown on me so much because it applies to so many different situations, and especially to the Dallas Stars here, guys. Look, I know this team has only scored a couple goals last few games, and everybody wants to hit this big plus 250 player prop, Carm. I'm going ahead. I'm stepping out. Alexander Ovechkin over 3.5 shots. Alexander Ovechkin to score a goal plus 100. I also got John Carlson, defenseman for the Washington Capitals, to get an assist. Don't forget about those defensemen. They get involved offensively as well. He's in a constant Norris talk for that team. And I think some people get it so twisted. And you talked about it. We had a discussion about this actually on the show a few weeks ago when it was you, Prez, and I. And we talked about Matthews when you talked about him playing in Arizona. You know what price he was in that game? Minus 110, and he scored a goal. I'm stepping in front with Ovechkin at plus 100 tonight to score a goal for the Washington Capitals to get his team back on track.
I love it, and I may join you for that, Andrew. See, this is the great thing about me watching this show while I do this show, is that I pick up some plays along the way that I'm going to try and take. Pizza money, beer money, whatever you want to call it. Before we get into like the next segment and stuff, I just want to address a couple of things in our chat. One of the guys, Chris, there. Listen, we try and answer as many people as possible, whether I'm active in the chat or even on Twitter. There's some times where, we just turn off notifications. So if someone's tweeting out to us, hey, what do you think about the second period over and the third period under, or in-game action? We have lives outside of hockey as well too. We have significant others, so we're not always on there. But anyone who is a client of mine, and even the ones who aren't, know that if they send me DMs, I get back to them all the time on different angles, on different bets. I try and get to as many people as possible. So don't take offense if your question isn't answered on Twitter. We try and do the best we can.
Absolutely. And just to add to that, we don't like to, put attention on some of these comments, but just to add to that, we select games and we try and break down games, which is one of the reasons why I want to start talking about props as well, that can give people, and especially recreational bettors, the opportunity to wager at a minus 110, at a minus 125, 130, 140. We could easily come on here for the rest of the season, Carmen, say, take the Avalanche on the money line, minus 275, buddy. And you know what I mean? That's easy to do. You could take all these big people who are going to say to us, well, why didn't you pick the Avalanche last game? Well, because we want to try and find some value. And don't get me wrong, if it's in your betting strategy, if it's within your bankroll, and you don't want to play a puck line, a regulation, you don't want to take my advice on Mikko ranting to get an assist, fill your shoes and go ahead and take this team minus 200 every game they play in, because they're 38-3 on the year. If you took them on the money line every game, you've probably done very well. On this show, I don't want to put words in Carm's mouth. Both of us try and preach getting great odds and great value. So that's just my 2 cents there, Carm, because we both try and do that.
Yeah, and I'm not getting on anyone, Chris. So it's not. I'm not getting on you. I'm dedicating the 6 and 60 to you on today's show. I'll say that. But my point is, if I'm giving out a play or a lean on this Puck Time show throughout the season, I'm never going to give you something that I don't want to play myself. So I'm not going to tell you to take, hypothetically, the Edmonton Oilers over Montreal minus 240 if I'm not going to bet it myself. Why would I tell you to bet anyone to bet a price that I'm not willing to bet myself? I think that's it's a negligent thing to do. I think it's a terrible thing to do. Give out plays that you're willing and you're going to play with your own money. It's the only way to do it.
100%. And that's just who we are. We got different guests that come on, that they bring their strategies, their handicapping. We have so much fun on this show. It's Friday, and the only disappointing part about the weekend, and I genuinely mean this, I miss doing Puck Time. I love coming on here and talking hockey, engaging with the audience when we can. But we have the 6 in 60 segment coming up here with yours. I was just going to say yours truly. Doesn't really make sense because it's Carmine Bianco, not me. Carmine coming up in just a second here with the 6 and 60, 6 games in 60 seconds. These games are all for tomorrow. And guys, these are the overnight lines, the overnight looks. If you do like some recommendations Carmine does give out, jump on it now. Look more into it now. These numbers will move, and it's so great we're doing this show here at 11:35 Eastern time, and these games are for tomorrow. So jump on the best number. Carm, I'll hand the mic to you, buddy.
Yeah, before we start the clock on this one, just to explain, as Andrew said, I'm always using the projected overnights. So these lines will usually, for tomorrow's games, will usually appear around 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, whether you're on in the U.S., DraftKings, FanDuel, any of the books, or up in Canada. So grab the best number early, because I don't want anyone, if I'm telling you to take a team at minus 140 and there's all of a sudden minus 180, I don't want someone sort of chirping back at me, hey, it was never minus 140. Anyways, I'm going to give you the lines that are the forecasted lines for these games, and we need to get back in the win column. So for you guys in chat, let's queue up the clock here. And let's get going. All right, Seattle, New York Islanders. You know I've got to have the Islanders on here. Seattle with a rare road win on the Thursday. The Islanders drop one to the Kings. They return to normalcy on Saturday. Isles in regulation time. Flyers and Kings. Kings are winning games. The Flyers aren't. 13 straight. It's about to become 14. One of those 13 was a 6-3 loss in LA. Give me the Kings minus 133 here. St. Louis and Winnipeg. The Blues lit up the Flames on Thursday. They are going to ground the Jets on a Saturday. Ugly 0-6 run for the Jets. Give me St. Louis minus 155. Arizona and Buffalo, the marquee matchup of the weekend. No, it's not. Arizona on a back-to-back. Give me the Sabres here at plus money. Detroit and Toronto. The Wings are struggling. The Leafs aren't. Toronto clips their Wings in regulation time. Take the Leafs in regulation. Finally, Calgary and Vancouver. The Flames dropped one in St. Louis, but they're putting it together. They beat this Vancouver team 7 of 10 times last year. Give me the Flames. Almost beat the clock. Almost beat the clock.
The ball goes in the hoop, but the basket is not good. The referee is waving his arms in the air.
He waved it off.
He's waving it off. Great stuff there. 6 and 60. A lot of picks in just 1 minute. So great stuff there, Carmine Bianco. Let's jump into best bets. I'll give Carm a breather here. I'll go with my best bet. I just want to let you guys know that Andrew39 promo code that I had yesterday. I got a message from customer service. That's good for the rest of January. Andrew39 gets you 3 days, all sports action, $39. You can grab that at my profile page, wt.buzz /AM Andrew39. 3 days, all access, $39. NHL's been great, guys. A prop package for this weekend. Love the prop world. We got obviously 2 huge games in the NFL. Why just focus on the side and total when you can dive into the prop market? I've discussed props quite a bit on this show already, and my best bet is about to be a prop on this show. Let's jump into it with Jake Guentzel to score a goal. I've talked about it countless times about how I have no problem taking these top guys to score goals at these, higher prices, we'll say. He's minus 110 tonight. This guy has had so many chances. Been a couple games for him where he's been a little bit held off the score sheet. But, hey, last game, guy finishes with 4 shots. He has been outstanding for them, playing with talented players. And now you get to play a much, much weaker opponent than they've been playing in the past. Good bounce back opportunity here for this team as well with the Penguins. Give me Jake Guentzel, a little bit of goal-scoring magic for an anytime goal scorer, puck time, best bet. Jake Guentzel to score a goal here for my best bet. Carm, I'll hand it over to you. First time in a while, man. I gave out a prop bet for my best bet. I'm feeling good about it, though.
I love it. The money spends the same way, Andrew. If the prop bet hits, you spend it the same way. I've never seen anyone refuse money that was made through a prop bet. So with that said, a couple games up for tonight in the NHL, a 5% play getting loaded right after the show. NFL is up. World Cup qualifying is up. There's going to be a ton of action this weekend. So that 3-day all access is a great deal because the 5% play in itself is $35. So take advantage of that. As far as the show best bet, I'm going to go back to the first game we discussed, the Pittsburgh Penguins and Detroit. It was such a frustrating game for the Pens yesterday. I don't think they get the same defensive resistance from this Detroit team tonight. So the total is at 6. I'm going to go over the total here. I think that this number gets there. This is one of those 5-2, 5-3 type games for Pittsburgh. So we're going to go over the total as your show best bet. Guys, I wish you all the best weekend. Make some money, kill your books, and we're going to see you all on Monday again.
Love doing this show. Love puck time. Make sure you guys check out Carmine Bianco's 5% play on the ice for tomorrow, for Saturday. If you enjoyed the 6 and 60 segment with Carm, make sure you get his best bet for tomorrow. 5% wager over at WagerTalk.com. So Carmine's going with Detroit and Pittsburgh over 6 for his best bet. Hopefully in the process of getting over 6 goals, Carm, we see a goal from Jake Guentzel. That's my best bet at minus 110. Power plays are on the screen there, guys. And once again, just like Carm said, best of luck to all of you guys, whatever you're wagering on, hockey, NFL, college hoops, NBA, whatever it might be. We wish you the best of luck. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you on Monday.
Lock in all sports, all plays, all 5% best bets from now until Super Bowl 57 on February 12th, 2023 from your favorite WagerTalk handicapper for only $1,199 versus a regular price of $1,999 for one total savings of $800. This limited time super discount comes out to less than $100 per month and only $3.28 per day. As an added bonus, your all access starts immediately, so the sooner you buy before Super Bowl 56, the more additional days you will get for free. Just go to WagerTalk.com, choose your favorite handicapper to lock in, and don't forget there is no limit to the amount of handicappers you can redeem our Super Bowl to Super Bowl offer on.